What's going on, guys? Restar34 here with another FRS update. It's been a little while since you've heard from me. I mean, that's not true. Like, I made a video last week, but it turns out my brand new microphone was defective, which really sucks. So I got another mic. It's currently wedged under the camera right now because I don't have a proper mount for it yet. So hopefully you don't hear too much vibration from the dashboard. But anyways though, I wanted to make a video because this is the car with brand new lower control arms and coilovers and tow arms. So I did a kind of a, not a full suspension, I wouldn't say, because I didn't do like sway bars, etc. But I think I covered a good portion of it that is important, or at least important to me. Alright. It's been about a week since I've had these on. I did them last Friday. I installed them all myself, and so let me give you a little bit more backstory here. I was originally going to go with some Fortunato coilovers, and instead I ended up going with I found a used set of BC Racing coilovers that were like literally in like brand new condition, and so I figured for the price point I might as well give them a try, and if they suck, then so be it. At least I can say I know, and now I know, versus I wonder if, you know, because literally the price difference compared to the Fortunatos was double. I got these for $675 shipped to my door, and they were, like I said, they were in brand new condition. I'll actually post some photos right here and here of the condition that they came in, and I couldn't be happier. They were in like brand new condition. I disassembled them, checked all the torque specs on the top nut, etc. I degreased them. They weren't even that dirty. I cleaned all the threads and with a nylon brush, and lubricated the shit out of them. I used some silicone PB Blaster lubricant, not the penetrating oil, but their actual like silicone based lubricant, and just literally lubed the whole entire threads, etc. I reassembled them and followed their how-to video on setting the preload with 4 millimeters of preload, and I did that with the spanner wrench, where they basically explain it in their video. You hand tighten the spring on the preload collar until you can't, you know, like till it's snug basically. Then you take the bottom locking collar, you ride it up to the bottom, and then you hold it there, and then you turn the preload collar until you can fit the spanner wrench in between the locking collar and the preload collar, and then they said that the spanner wrench is actually 4 millimeters in thickness. So pretty much you just turn that thing till it slides right in, lock it down, you're good to go. It might not be the most exact method, but what I did to ensure accuracy among all of the coilovers was I measured from the top of the strut to the bottom of the strut, and got, you know, to top of the shock to the bottom of the shock, and got the overall length. And then I measured from the top of the shock to the preload collar, and then also from the top of the shock to the locking collar right below it, and then made sure that that was exactly the same on each coilover. At least I made sure it was the same on the fronts and the rears, because they're a little different in design. set my ride height for middle height on the tube. Now after doing that, I wish I kind of went lower and then went up with my ride height, because it was kind of a pain in the ass to turn it down versus turning it up would have been a lot easier. But overall though, the install was pretty straightforward. The tow arms were a pain in the ass to get off and on, because there's like your e-brake cable back there that you have to get around, but I just kind of pushed it out of the way and did it. And then lower control arms are pretty easy too, but my after doing the install, I torqued everything to spec. It took me a really long time to do everything. I think like a normal coilover install probably takes like an hour, 2 hours if you're taking your time. But like given that I was doing coilovers, lower control arms, and tow arms, it took me around like 5 or 6 hours. But I wasn't really rushing the process either, and I was also being really meticulous with checking my torque specs, etc. And I also had I still do have a sprained wrist at the time, so it was not to my advantage. After I did the install, I went and got an alignment from a guy who hooked me up, and it was funny because my camber was pretty much spot on, and that's why I did the lower control arms, was to eliminate a lot of negative camber that is associated with lowering your car naturally. Just because I don't have wheels yet. But yeah, on the stock wheels and tires, it's pretty sunken in already, so I didn't want that much camber. So I think I have like a degree on each, on the rears, and like maybe a degree 1.5 up front, I can't remember. But my toe was really far off from installing the adjustable tow arms. I rechecked all my nuts and bolts to make sure they were tight a week later. Initial impressions, I had the car set to full soft initially, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna ride it, it's gonna feel like stock. Because that was my main concern the whole time, was like, will the car ride like shit on these, you know, coilovers that are kind of entry level compared to the Fortunatos. Not knocking BC, but you know, there's a reason why they're $900 versus $1,400. And Fortunato even has their entry level coilover, which is called the Prime, and that's the same price point. So I mean, like, all in all, I think I was like $1,000 deep with the adjustable arms and the coilover cost and the alignment. So I mean, I still saved $400 over just the coilover price. So if I would have factored in the arms and shit, I would probably have been near like, I don't know, $1,800–$1,900 on the Fortunatos. Not knocking them at all, but I just, for my specific, what I was looking for, I'm really satisfied with the BC Racing. They are pretty much exactly what I was looking for, and it, now seeing how the ride quality is, I wish I would have jumped on them sooner. But overall I'm pretty satisfied. They're not incredibly fucking outrageous, like jar your teeth out of your head stiff, which I've had coilovers in the past that were like that. And now, like I said, I was on full soft and I actually turned it up. I'm at 24 clicks now. I went from 0 clicks to 6 to 12, and then 20 straight to 24. And I'm kind of liking this a lot because it's an even, I feel like it's an even balance between like shorter, like, or stiffer, like stiffness and comfort, but it's not too spongy. Like when I had it on full soft, the car actually like would kind of like you would hit a dip and it would do an extra like bounce. It was way too soft. And what it is when you're adjusting that dampening, it's a metered orifice. So you're actually just like opening it up, or when it's full soft, I believe it's all the way open, therefore allowing the fluid to displace from one side of the shock to the other. You know, faster, I guess. Anyways, yeah, it's a metered orifice, and when you're tightening it up or making it stiffer, I believe you're making that opening smaller, therefore displacing less fluid you know, not as quickly. I don't know. I'm not an engineer or an expert. That's just kind of what I read into a little bit as I was reading up on like preload, etc. But yeah, at 24 clicks right now, the car feels fucking super planted. It gets super sideways all the time now, and I love it. It rides great. It feels exactly how I wanted it to feel. I'm happy as shit. I wanted to give it a week's worth of like trial and error just to make sure it wasn't, you know, gonna be super unsatisfied. And yeah, life's about taking risks, and you never know what the actual outcome will be. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. I took a risk and I said, you know what, 675. If they suck and I hate them, I'm only out, you know, $100 at best if I sell them on the used market for $500, you know, or $600 or whatever. And you know, it's better than taking a $300 or $400 loss on a brand new set just out of curiosity. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad I did it. Now, you know, the problem is I would have dropped all that money on the Fortunatos and been like, wow, you know, for $1,400 these ride pretty, you know, I don't know if they would have ridden any better. I guess I never will know, but for what I was looking for, I nailed it exactly for a savings of, yeah, almost half the price. So I'm completely satisfied. And so sometimes, you know, take an educated risk. You know, I definitely did my research and talked to fellow owners, and it ensured my confidence finally in getting these. And I said, you know what, screw it, let's see what happens, and I'm glad I did. So anyways, though, yeah, that was a quick update on the FRS. Oh, I forgot to mention my arms, my adjustable arms are SPC lower control arms and SPC toe arms. They're not the most aggressive as far as like camber adjustment, but I'm actually not going for an aggressive like hella flush fitment. Like I don't want like 8 degrees of camber. I think the rears adjust up to 3 degrees of camber, which is plenty, like plenty. Like even my S13, when it was kind of stanced, had only about 3 degrees, and even I thought that was aggressive. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely super satisfied. I'm loving the shit out of the car. This is the way it should have felt. There's no body roll, and who knows what's next. And yeah, right now I'm actually on my way to a car event, and it should be fun, but I'd like to get some wheels and tires here soon. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's a little quick, like thrown together video, you know, with my shitty microphone problems and stuff, but I just figured I'd let you guys know on the mod. I wish I could have filmed the install, but unfortunately I was actually at work, so I was under a deadline. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, and peace out. The show.